Hi, Rob. Hi, Jared. How are you?
Good, Lori. How are you?
Hi, Lori. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. So
Good.
tonight we're doing meeting 2 for our team project. Did you both get the agenda that I sent out?
I sure did. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely, Lori. I got it, and I have it right in front of me.
Okay. So I actually wanted to start the meeting actually with a little bit of an icebreaker. So I had a question for both of you. What do you like to do outside of your College for America schoolwork?
Not do schoolwork.
Yeah, it seems like that's all that I've been doing the past 9 months. So I tell you what, I'm pretty excited to finish this up. My wife and I like to just kind of go out of town for the long weekends. I know skiing season's coming up here, and our mountain should get some good snow. So I'm looking forward to some winter downhill skiing and just having fun and relaxing. And plus,
Jared, you don't
no
really
more
think you're
fun
gonna
for
have
me.
time
I
for
got
that,
a
do
baby
you?
coming in 3 weeks.
Oh, that's awesome. Congrats.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Jared, there won't be
And
any
good luck.
downhill skiing for you.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I can put her in a backpack, right?
Right.
There you go.
So, I, likewise, Lori, I like to mountain bike, and my wife and I spend some time at the ocean when we can. So, it's kind of relaxing. That's what we do outside of this stuff. So, do a little bit of cycling, and in the fall, I hunt also. So I'm excited because that time of the year is right around the corner for me. So
Yeah, it's coming up.
yeah, yeah.
It
How
sure is.
about your How about yourself?
You know what? I think we're pretty lucky to live in New Hampshire because we have the ocean and the mountains both within
Yeah.
driving distance. 2 hours either
Absolutely,
way, and I'm at either. So I'm
absolutely.
yeah, I'm more of a summer person. I
Yeah.
like the outdoor stuff, the hiking, the trails. I tried skiing. You can have that, Jared. I'm good with that. Outdoor activity,
Yeah.
yes. Skiing, no.
Yeah.
Nice.
How far away are you guys from the ocean?
Are you in Concord, Laura? I don't remember.
I am in Concord.
Yeah, so we're like 60 miles.
Oh, okay.
Not even 60 miles. It's like 50 miles, I think, to Hampton, give or take a couple of miles. So, how about you?
Gotcha. Oh, I think we're about 2 hours away.
It's not too bad
Oh
still.
no, it's not too bad. The closest way to get there is to go down into California and then back up. So,
Oh,
but yeah, it's not too bad. It's probably, I don't know, 120 miles.
no, not it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So,
If you can get to both, that's the best of both worlds, I think.
Yeah, I mean
absolutely.
I mean I've never been over there to New Hampshire, but it sure is beautiful here. I mean it's you guys described what we live in, mountains and lakes and not that far away from the ocean. So
Great.
it's pretty cool.
Yep. Nice.
Okay, so the first thing that I had on the agenda for us to review was I think we need to discuss what we would like to use for our team solving process to complete the objectives for this project. And I did send you both a document that I had researched and looked up. Did you get a chance to review that?
I did. Yep, I did review that. And I think Lori, your um, problem solving is pretty much along the same. Oops, I'm trying to go between screens. I hope I didn't lose you guys. Is along the same lines as the one that I picked. I picked out the 7 steps, which Lori I think is probably pretty much what you did. Um,
Yeah, I think in the document in the resources they referred to it as the prescriptive approach. If I'm on the right one.
Yes.
So
Yep.
it kind of laid out a similar flow to how this works.
right.
So yeah, I definitely having looked at those options, and what you had put together, Lori, and what the resources had, I think that seemed like the most logical way to try to address some of what's going on here. So.
Okay, so we're in agreement. Step one down.
Yeah, good.
Now comes the fun part. We've all reviewed the material, so what we need to go over is trying to define what the problems are at Drip and Dry. And I'm going to take notes as to who says what and what we come up with together as a team. So who would like to begin?
Well, I'm happy to shoot out the first observation. Having looked at the document that in the resources with Carrie's observations and the constraints and considerations on it, one of the things that jumped out at me multiple times was that it seems as though Drip and Dry is frequently operating at or above their current capacity.
Yeah, I agree with that, Rob. I have some of my notes here that do coincide with that. They're just too busy. Their lines are too long, and it just seems like they have too much going on. So I agree with that.
Okay. One of the things that I observed through research and the information too was that it seems like they're at max capacity because a third of the seating is being occupied by the customers who only purchase one beverage. So it kind of like, to me, was like the wireless internet and it being free and an all-day thing is kind of part of what the problem is too.
I definitely.
Yeah,
go ahead, Jared.
Oh, go ahead, Rob.
I was just going to say that's the same thing that I was noticing as well. You had the resources in a couple of different places referred to them as lingerers, people who would come in and plop down for the afternoon, do their work, buy a coffee, and kind of occupy a space. I don't remember the name of the resource. I could put my hands on it if I did, but there was the one that talked about them being territorial almost,
Right.
they come in, there's one person, they plop down at a table with 4 seats at it, and they put their laptop on front of them and put their coat in one and their laptop bag in the other. And I think that's a problem here at Drip and Dry. They've got, Laura, you mentioned the free Wi-Fi, and I know it's a plus and a minus for them. I think that maybe that's something we should try to address somehow with our solution for them.
Yeah, I agree. I think the free Wi-Fi is definitely it's a good thing to have, but it's obviously causing problems. Another thing that I noticed was because of the problems of how busy Drip and Dry is, their loyal customers, it says that they're starting to be concerned on how loud and chaotic the place is becoming when before it was quiet. And I think it's because people are just, like you said, Rob, they're just showing up and they're plopping down for hours on end, and they're just using it as a hangout.
Well, one of the we're talking about that a little bit. So I kind of wrote down that the loyal customers are being alienated. That's what kind of what drew people to Drip and Dry initially was the quiet atmosphere and the kind of coffee shop feel to it. But now with the hustle and bustle of adding the food and the immense growth they're experiencing, that chaos that creates brings with it they're kind of a victim of their own success now.
Right. Yeah, I think they're getting too big too fast.
Yeah,
so,
and I agree.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I noticed and noted that I think is important when we come up with the solutions is that it was very specific that the busy hours were 11 to 3 and
Mhm.
then 5 to 8.
8.
So it seemed to be like a lunchtime and a dinner time issue going on.
Oh, that's a good point, Lori. I kind of didn't tie those things together. But you're right. They did specifically mention, 11 to 3, which is that midday time, and then again
Mhm.
during the evening, which would be kind of the post-work hours between 5 and 8. So one of the things, I don't want to kind of divert from where we are, but I do want to circle back to what we were just talking about for a second, though, about because Jared, you had mentioned that, the people who bought just a single coffee, I think it was you, Jared, anyway, that they were there for a long time. But they also mentioned in here that, and it was in the survey results that said on average, people who bought one coffee or one beverage per day stay for only 20 minutes. So there's sort of this dichotomy of people who buy, there's a certain customer clientele that's coming in and they're having their coffee and or doing their laundry and hitting the Wi-Fi real quick and taking off. And then you have your kind of lingerer clientele also. So there's some patrons who we definitely need to consider, which I feel like I'm putting the cart before the horse a little bit. I just don't want to lose sight of
No, that's fine.
of that as part of the bigger picture. Because we're still trying to sort of outline the problem,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and so I think part of that outline needs to be it's that keeping every type of customer that you don't want to lose these people regardless of whether they're lingerers. You maybe want to put some limitations on those folks, but you want to encourage the other folks who are, maybe walking on their way to work and stopping in for a coffee or a
Yeah.
bagel or whatever.
Yep, definitely agree. And I think one of the other things that we need to know in this as we're defining the problem is that Carrie was very clear that we have a $38,000 budget to fix the issue.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Which
So
is the 2 months revenue.
So doubling the size of Drip and Dry is probably not in the budget.
Not in the budget.
Probably not.
No, not going to happen there. So,
Right.
Okay, so I think I think we all agree what the problem is at Drip and Dry. So, and we spoke about some of the factors that actually contribute to the problem. One of the other things that I had as contributing, though, was, and I think it goes with what you were saying, Rob, that there's of customers. There's the laundry consumers, and then kind of that Wi-Fi generation who set up shop, take up space, and kind of just linger around to get work done. And then there's the 20-minute, get my beverage, and I'm on my way.
Right.
So that was one of the things I did pick up on when we researched it as well.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that we could put down on the factors that contribute to Drip and Dry's problem is for those people who are kind of coming in for the one-stop shopping, they're doing their laundry, they're having a coffee, and they're kind of hanging out for a little while, is that they're not, because they mentioned this, they're not picking up their finished laundry in a timely fashion, which of course is going to back up everybody else. So somehow that needs to be, or we should think.
The food orders.
Yeah, we should. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that was at the food orders.
Yeah, people who order food often
neglect
to pick up their finished laundry in a timely fashion. So they're coming in, they're having their bite to eat, and I'm assuming either doing or having their laundry done for them, and then they're kind of backing up everybody else because they're not getting their laundry out of the machines in a timely fashion, or not freeing up space in a timely fashion.
Right. And one of the other things they were clear about was that there were long lines during the peak hours, and that was for food or drinks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Just
So,
want to make sure I'm writing this all down here.
so we're sort of working on the factors that are contributing to this, and what do you kind of have down for your list on that right now, Lori?
Well, that we had the different types of customers. We've got the long lines at peak hours for food or drink. People who are one-stop shopping are not finishing laundry in a timely manner. I also included on that list, one of the factors is the setup currently at Drip and Dry is fostering a louder atmosphere.
Yes.
And we all agreed that the business is growing in a rapid manner versus the space that's actually available for them to conduct the business.
Yes.
Right.
I would definitely agree. All right. So does anybody have anything they want to kind of add to that?
Lori, you kind of cut out a little bit on my end. Did you happen to address the internet, the wireless internet on that list?
Yes, we have that down.
Okay.
The
Okay,
Wi-Fi
great.
squatters. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Wi-Fi squatters. I like it.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that better than lingerers, Lori.
We'll call them squatters.
Sure.
There you go.
Jared, we can't change that in the memo.
No, yeah.
No.
That's right.
We agreed.
Right.
That's right.
That follows our norms. The team voted.
Perfect.
Okay, so I think the next thing that we want to do, now that we've identified that, and if we go by the problem solution that we agreed upon, is we need to brainstorm some of the potential solutions right now to the problem. And the project does require that we have at least 3 options. So, Jared, do you want to start on that one?
Yeah. I think, and I obviously, I don't know the situation as far as seeding for Drip and Dry, but I think we should probably look into seeing if we can maybe put some tables outside, along the sidewalk. That way, if people are just going to get a coffee and hang out with the Wi-Fi, they don't have to be inside taking up the tables for the laundry, or taking up the space that people are actually using the machines.
Well, Jared, I think that although in the summertime, that's a fantastic solution in Portland, Maine.
Yeah, well.
In the wintertime, we're going to create some issues there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a consideration. I think it's a good idea, but it does present a bit of another constraint for us, because then it becomes a sort of seasonal fix.
Sure.
And I had that down, just like you did, Jared. The only difference was I had it set as possible seasonal seating.
Okay. Yeah.
I agree. I think it's a good idea, because I think seasonally you're going to see more walk-in traffic. So I don't think it's something we should just kind of write off. I just wanted to point out that 6 months out of the year, or maybe even more in Portland, 6 to 8 months out of the year, you won't get good use out of that additional space.
Yeah, I brought that up. I thought I saw somewhere, and I'm looking at it on this deliverable that Carrie wanted to try to get the people that are visiting more involved, and I guess to me that was just more of it's going to be seasonal.
That's a good point, actually. I think you're right. That was definitely in there somewhere. It might have been in one of the past Drip and Dry projects, but they were trying to kind of cater to that seasonal tourist crowd and bring them in, and that's definitely a summertime deal in Portland. So I don't know if we can kind of put that. It's definitely a consideration. Good point, Jared.
Yeah, we can maybe put that down. But yeah, I mean seasonal. I mean, I think that's it'd be a great thing for a seasonal.
I agree on that.
Okay. So I think what I was kind of concerned about is, and we've all talked about it a little bit, is the free Wi-Fi. And I'm all for free Wi-Fi. I use it, when I'm out and about, but I'm also not a coffee shop squatter. So I think it's I'm wondering if we could come up with an idea of a way, like when you purchase a beverage or you purchase something, that it gets you a password that's good for like an hour, so that we put in some sort of limitation on them, to how long, they can kind of get that it would maybe discourage the squatter types from being there for 3 or more hours and spending the afternoon doing their work via telecommuting.
Yeah, I definitely I like that idea, and in fact, I kind of had the same idea of maybe. I mean, and I don't know how we go about doing this, but changing the passwords every 2 or 3 hours, or whatever time limit we are giving these people.
Yeah.
That will kick them off.
Might require a little, yeah, I think it might require a little bit of research, but I'd be willing to bet that there's some application out there that already exists that kind of does this and spits out a password, a randomly generated password that has a limit attached to it.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% certain of that. It's just an idea. But
if not, I'll create one and sell it to Drip and
There
Dry.
we go.
There you go. Get the patent on that.
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
One of the things that I had to do with the squatters, and Drip and Dry in particular, is it did talk about how they're kind of in an expanded area and taking up a lot of space. So one of the things I thought of was creating kind of a smaller separate area for them as well. So, and it's not something that would be really expensive, because you could do it creating a half wall within the seating area. You'd make it comfortable, but it would limit the ability to spread out and take up extra seats, that other people could be utilizing. So I was kind of thinking, like, if you had like 1 or 2 seats at a smaller round table, and maybe place them near the windows, because I remember in the other project it was a windowed area. So you could create, and I was thinking, to make them aware too. I've been in places that have Wi-Fi, and it clearly says, thank you, we thank you for your business. However, please remember Wi-Fi is an expense, and we appreciate your purchases and your business overall. Something like that too. It kind of.
So you're suggesting maybe I'm sorry, Laura, I didn't mean to talk over you.
That's okay.
So you're suggesting maybe some signage along with a few changes to the actual sort of cafeteria area of Drip and Dry? Maybe some.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. I like the idea of smaller tables, because if you put in the smaller tables, I think it will, one, you can fit more tables in and potentially more seating around them. And that limitation of how much space somebody can occupy, because I noticed, Jared, I don't know, does Borders even exist anymore? But when we had Borders in town,
not down here. We just got a Barnes and Noble.
Same idea. But
Okay,
I noticed that they used to, they had like tables set up for 4 people, and you'd get that big square table, and you'd only get one person around it. And if you go with Lori's suggestion, if we take the idea and kind of run with that smaller tables idea and it just discourages them from sort of spreading out and occupying lots of space. I hate to say it, but it almost makes them a little uncomfortable. Those folks, but it does still give people that just want to come in and have a coffee or have a coffee while they're doing their laundry a place to sit and park it. It just doesn't encourage that kind of laptop spread out and occupy this big space concept. I like that idea, Laura.
I think we need to be careful that that they're not moving all these tables towards one area to have more room too. Which I don't think they will with the smaller tables. I mean, I definitely like that idea.
Yeah, and I think the idea of round tables instead of square tables, that kind of discourages that. You can't set them up in a bigger square and have them. What do you think, Lori?
And well, that's why I suggested round. You can't. It's kind of hard to put two round together. You're gonna get a figure eight. So I think it removes it to a different area, which people, they're going to be in, get their Wi-Fi, whichever way we go with this, whether it's a 2-hour disconnect, whether it's a reset on a password. Right. We're still creating an environment, but we're limiting so that we have other seats available for other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay. What else we got?
Okay. Well, let's see. What have we've done we got the Wi-Fi, the seating.
The outdoor seasonal seating.
Outdoor, yep.
So Lori, I was thinking along the same lines, just a little bit different than you, because one of the things that had become an issue was noise. And instead of the half wall, I was almost thinking you could do a full wall some way to separate the food, beverage atmosphere from the laundry folks. It's the same idea. I just had envisioned it with a kind of top to bottom wall with maybe some glass and windows, so you could still see, like, if you were if you wanted to be in that kind of louder space, that you could still see what was going on, but it would help to reduce the noise.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that just a full floor to ceiling floating wall would be a great idea.
Okay.
Which I think really isn't a new idea, Laura. I think it's just a tweak on what you mentioned.
Right, half wall, but you could do, I agree, you could do a window, because that's going to deter noise, and still wouldn't give it an appearance of a full wall if you do the glass insert window.
Right.
So it's going to be the full wall with the window in it. Speaking of that, have either of you ever heard of the noise panels?
Yes.
The what? I'm sorry?
They're called, they're noise blocking panels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it almost looks like a ceiling tile, and it's frequently they're like covered with a cloth material that just helps deaden the noise in the room.
Yeah.
So I think, and I'm not sure how you'd make that work. Laura, were you thinking of that as a different, kind of a separate solution to the separation of the areas? Or okay.
What I was thinking was the wall, and I think that both of you are spot on. You do the window and the wall. We do it a full wall. But the acoustic tiles, I don't know if you've ever seen them, but you can actually buy them, and they look like artwork. So, you're placing it through your business, and it actually looks like art on the wall. But the purpose of it actually is it absorbs the echo factor in a room and makes for a less hectic environment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they start as low as $20 a panel, and I know that because we bought them when we did renovations at the hospital where I work, because we had problems with echoes in the rooms from the new walls being built. So anyone coming in looks at it and they're like, oh, what a pretty mountain scene. It's actually an acoustic noise barrier panel is what it is.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. You know, you guys, I just now thought of this. I don't know, I'm just going to throw it out there, but what if Drip and Dry, what if they were to put a door, a separate door going into the coffee shop? So there's two doors. You have a door going into the coffee shop and you have a door going into the laundromat. So people that are just wanting to go into the coffee, they're not disturbing the people that are in the laundromat. And then also you obviously have a joining door from the coffee shop to the laundromat on the inside.
That's a possibility.
I don't know if, I don't know necessarily if the problem is, you know, just being congested. You know, I don't know where the congestion is. The problem with that is if there's no round tables available in the coffee shop, they're probably going to go sit out in the laundromat section.
That's a possibility. You get the overflow traffic that will just, you know, I want to go find a place to sit no matter what. So that's something to be considered.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of looking at the other idea, some of the other considerations here on Carrie's list. And it just kind of jumped out at me that since we're sort of still in that brainstorming phase, if we kind of circle back around to the limitation of the Wi-Fi again, maybe it's something to consider to that you only get a password if you're also a laundry customer. So, you know, so that if you're just there for the coffee shop, because really Drip and Dry's original focus was laundry with a coffee shop, right?
Sure.
So the idea was to have people be able to get their beverage and a snack while they're doing their laundry. So we're almost trying to reduce, I don't want to say we're reducing traffic into the business, but we sort of want to keep the core of our business as the laundromat folks. So maybe the idea of limiting it on time isn't the way to go. Maybe we should consider the limitation on the Wi-Fi to only those people who are actually there doing their laundry. What do you think of that idea?
I'm trying to, I like that idea, and I'm looking through the resources to find out what kind of staffing Drip and Dry has. Do you guys happen to have that one sheet printed out?
They had like, I want to say, oh man.
So they have a manager of the coffee shop, they have a head barista, and is there someone always on staff for the laundromat section? I guess I'm just wondering if this is a coin operated or.
So I think that so we're getting we're trying to go back to the previous projects, and as I recall, Drip and Dry was a drop-off laundry service.
It is. There's drop-off services available.
But there's also self-serve coin op too.
Correct.
Okay.
There's both.
So you do have some staff, and as I recall, there was a couple of backroom staff that were doing laundry. You had a barista, you had you'll need a manager there of some sort. And so one of the things we haven't really addressed, I'm sorry, Jared, I'm kind of interrupting here.
No, that's great.
Go ahead and finish your thought if you want. I can.
No, go for it.
So we're not really kind of addressing the crux of Drip and Dry's problem, which is that they're jam-packed full for 7 hours out of the business day. from 11 in the morning to 3, and then again from 5 to 8. So how can we maybe look at addressing the capacity issue? Should we consider, maybe expanding our capabilities as a coffee shop as well, to try to help move people through because the lines are so long? So,
Right.
do you hire a second barista? Do you have a second food service type person?
Yeah. Now, I don't know. Do you guys have in Maine? Do you guys have drive-through coffee shops?
Well, we have Dunkin' Donuts.
But is it drive-through? You drive in, you order, and then take off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So
and we have a Roma Joe's.
So there's like 4 on every corner over here on the West Coast. I mean, it's ridiculous. And Rob, that's a great idea, is to on your busy hours, you have an extra person working.
Maybe
where I was
even
going
an
with
extra
that
cash
is-
register. I mean, maybe you bring in
Yeah.
for not a lot of money, you could probably add a second cash register and a second part-time employee to be there during the peak hours.
Yep. And that's where I was going, is during the peak hours of our drive-through shops here in Oregon. There's always 2 or 3 people in the coffee stand, and then obviously they know where their busy hours are, just like Drip and Dry does, that when typically those busy hours fall off, that's when those people go home, and then there's only one person manning the coffee stand.
Right. I had a couple thoughts on that. My only concern, Rob, is in the document that Carrie sent us, one of the problems that she was observing is that they're not achieving maximum potential revenue. So I think if we push certain customers away, that's not going to help with the revenue either.
But is that because they're not able to get in? It's because the crowd is reducing their laundry customers as well. So
possibly.
There's a little give and take there. Like you said, maybe you're right. Maybe well, again, referring back to Carrie's document, they don't want to get away from their original business plan and mission, which was coffee and laundromat. So I don't want to encourage, growth in the coffee shop area without addressing the laundry business as well. And I think that, that capacity crowd and the long lines in the coffee shop, I'm kind of liking what Jared was saying now, with maybe 2 sort of entrances, or at least a separate area, a way
I like
to
that a lot. The separate door to the coffee shop, and then the adjoining. And I had something to add to that, because we did define that there's a problem during the peak hours. So one of the thoughts that I had was Drip and Dry could actually give out coupons for reduced rates at the non-peak times to kind of shift some of the business so it's not directly during the peak hours. And also, what about if they did a lower rate for drop off and the dry and fold services during those peak hours? You would still maintain the customer and the business services, but it would provide an alternative to have more space in the area so it's not so crowded.
I like both of those ideas.
I like that. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I like the coupons, especially for non-peak.
Definitely encouraging people to come at non-peak hours. I love that idea, Lori.
Okay, so that was one that I had. And for the laundry area, one of the thoughts that I had was, and thank God I've had a washer and dryer for years and I don't have to go back to a laundromat. But I clearly remember in those days when I had to go, that there was always signs posted saying, all unattended laundry may be removed by the attendant to provide machines for waiting customers.
Yes.
So I think that's another simple fix to say, you know, for these people who aren't getting it out of the machine, the attendant may come by with a basket and you're going to find it over the other side of the room when you get back from drinking your coffee.
Right.
Sure. So you have a time limit or something when the buzzer goes off, whether it be 5 or 10 minutes, you better get your clothes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's a really inexpensive solution, Lori, because you have the
Sure.
attendant there, and some signage for the laundromat would be well under the $38,000.
Yeah, I think we'd be good there.
So I think maybe we could combine a couple of these ideas into our, you know, quote unquote 3 solutions. Because I think the idea, I actually really like both of your ideas, Lori, especially the trying to drive customers at off-peak hours. You know, if you encourage them with coupons for either discount laundry or discount coffee at non-peak times, maybe you can get them in at different times, dropping off their laundry, you know, whether it's before work in the morning or whatever. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll help with a lot of the traffic issues that they're having that's keeping it at capacity.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay. So, anybody? I can't think of anything else. That's sort of where I was with my thoughts on the suggested changes.
Yeah, you know, Rob, I'm kind of right there with you. You know, you got you have 2 separate things in one business, and they're so far apart from each other with, you know, different customers, and so it's you know, it's difficult to try to find these solutions that will, you know, help both sides. But I think you know, we've definitely come up with some great ideas.
I had one more thought. Lighting. So to me, lighting has an effect on an environment that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my thoughts was the laundry area actually should be bright and well lit in order to kind of, you know, give the impression people need to keep moving. We're not here to linger. It's bright lit. Do your laundry, move on. Whereas the cafe, I was thinking if you went with a medium tone of lighting, it'd be welcoming, but it also, with a variety of brighter areas, would enhance people again to enjoy but not stay for hours. And the Wi-Fi area, which we know is the big area, if it's placed near the windows, you've actually got the daylight coming in. But I think if you use the daylight and, say, wall sconces, you'd create an environment, but you'd also provide the feeling that, you know, because it's near the windows, the world is moving, everything's still moving. And so I think that would also enhance the awareness of time for people who are in that area. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's an interesting concept, Laura. I think it's sort of an outside of the box idea on how to address the lingerers a little bit. You know.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you think about, you know, you go and do, you know, Starbucks or something, and it's not really that bright. You know, they have a few of their, you know, sconces hanging down, and you know, it's not over the top bright, and I think that would deter those kind of people from hanging out in the laundromat section. You know, I'm looking at this also, and so we've discussed the coffee part, but one of Carrie's observations also says that the line for ordering food and drinks is extremely long during the peak hours. Go ahead, Rob.
I think we're addressing that with the idea of trying to drive traffic at non-peak hours.
Yeah,
because I think
I was just thinking, what if, I mean, because I know that there's a couple different food options that Drip and Dry was looking at, whether it be the sandwiches or the catering, whatever. What if they were to put some of that food in both sections? you have your food in your coffee shop, and then maybe you have a little grab and go refrigerator in the laundromat section that the drop off attendant can, kind of deal with that transaction. I mean, pretty much what you're doing is you're just spreading out, you're spreading out the crowd. I mean, It's not, because if the line's long in the coffee shop, they might go out to the laundromat and get it,
Right. But then you're impeding the ability of those doing laundry by the spillover. I like the idea, but what I want is for Carrie to give us about a $380,000 budget instead of a $38,000 budget, so we can just make the laundromat bigger to accommodate everybody.
Right.
But of course, that's not it. Lori, along the coupon idea, you could, because the coupons would be inexpensive, you could use some of that money that's left over in the budget to do some advertising for specials, like radio advertising for specials of promoting, non-peak hours, like come and do your laundry and have a coffee for $3.99 at between 7 and 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So that same idea.
That's a great idea.
I think you could kind of expand. It's really your idea, but it's just kind of taking it and expanding it. A promotion, maybe doing a promotion to try to drive traffic at non-peak hours.
Sure.
I think that definitely ties in. So, wow, we've got a lot of ideas for Drip and Dry, and we only have $38,000 to finish it.
So I think are we at that point where we want to kind of narrow it down to our 3?
I think we're going to do that in the next project, actually. I mean, what I want to do with this is I think what Jared has said, what you have said, and the different things I've had actually could be options.
Okay.
You know what? Or we could decide to combine them.
Well, I think some of them could be combined, like the coupon / promotion stuff to try to do the non-peak hours. Some of the modifications, like the wall, is probably not going to cost $38,000 to construct. So if you did that in combination with the smaller tables to accommodate more seating, I think we'd be in really good shape. So
I'm looking at the deliverable for this, and it says to brainstorm potential solutions to the problem based on all the information. You should aim to propose at least 3 potential solutions.
Well, I think we've managed that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Definitely. Okay.
So I like the wall, keeping it separate, the small tables.
So, and I think I agree with Rob. We can kind of combine the smaller things together, and that could be an option.
Sure. Are we doing the door just to the coffee shop? Because that could be added to the wall if we wanted to go that route.
Hey, I think that's a good idea. I think that those sort of construction modifications could all, those are not expensive, things to do. Unless Drip and Dry is made of steel.
Yeah, then we got a problem.
Right.
Okay, so what I've got down is like kind of combining the walls, tables, door, adjoining door, and taking the specials, combine that with the other options we talked about for noise levels as a second one. And then we need to get the control of the Wi-Fi kind of, I think. How did we want to list the third one? Let me ask that.
I think that we need to make some limitations on Wi-Fi access.
Yeah.
to just, we don't want to kick people out, but we don't want to encourage people to buy a coffee and sit there for 3 hours either.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of group all our ideas together on that one for the third option. And I know we're not supposed to talk about our final options yet because you'll get to lead that meeting, Rob.
Oh, lucky me.
But the one thing I did notice, I think everything that we've put together, although 3 different options, and I'll kind of break it out to say, you know, if you wanted to do the door, it would be this, and then we could do walls and tables, and I'll put that together and make sure we all agree on it as part of the memo that needs to be created.
Okay.
But with $38,000, I don't think we really had anything that's a major expense, and I'm not sure that there's going to be anything that will actually prevent us in the end from being able to implement all of it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that could be solution number 4, Lori, is to implement everything, do the construction, the Wi-Fi changes, and you know, and the promotions. But you know, no, seriously, I think that we'll stay well within budget. I think Carrie will appreciate the fact that we've come up with some solutions that are likely to come in under budget, if not well under budget.
I definitely agree.
Yep, I agree with that.
Okay, so now we're on to, we need to create a memo to send to Carrie, encompassing everything that we've discussed tonight. So I wanted to get everyone's thoughts on, one of the things I was thinking, we'd do it collaboratively. I've taken all the notes, so I will type up all the information, send it in an email to both of you so that if there's any content I missed or that needs to be added, everybody has the input, and that way it would be finalized by the team before it would be submitted as the deliverable. What are your thoughts on that?
Yep, that sounds great to me, Lori.
Yeah, that works for me too. Just an additional thought, Lori, is to save you emailing it. I think Jared and I were kind of messing around with the Google Docs, and you can actually share the document so that we could all edit it and you can see what the other person is doing. So that might be an option for delivering it as well, just to keep the collaborative effort intact. That way, if somebody's in it, we can see what's going on.
Okay, I'll definitely play around with Google Docs and see what that's all about. I've never used them, but
Okay.
I definitely will look into that. Does that sound good, Jared?
Yep, that sounds great to me.
Okay, so write myself a note. Crash course, Google Docs.
Yeah. It wasn't that difficult. I messed around with it after Jared told me about it. So I think you won't have any problems with it, Lori.
All right, as long as we can get there, then I guess we're good.
So,
Okay.
that sounds great to me. I guess we're kind of winding up here.
We are. So I'm just going to quickly, well, I think we kind of did go over it. We got through the brainstorming. We've agreed on how we're going to draft the team memo. We've got several options on the table. We don't have dollar amounts or anything yet, but I mean, that's something we can do as we move forward. So we're all responsible for the memo. We've all contributed to the options. I wanted to remind everybody, a component of this is the constructive feedback emails.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to remember, don't send them to each other. We have to draft them and actually submit them to the reviewer.
Right.
Because I know we were all wondering about that lovely constructive feedback we get to give each other.
So I think that's good. So we're really kind of down to getting ready for meeting number 3. And since that's going to fall on me, I'm just going to kind of jump on that and say, you know, what I can do over the next couple of days is, you know, I'd like to have a little bit of time to kind of digest what we've talked about. And then I will put together and perhaps even get the submittable off to the reviewer. And then I'd like to do an agenda. And when I send out the agenda, I will also put together a couple of potential days and times for meeting number 3. Does that sound reasonable to you guys?
That sounds good to me.
Yep, sounds
Okay.
great to me, Rob.
So maybe maybe look for something like Monday, Tuesday next week. Is that too slow? Not slow enough?
That should work for me. Like Monday, Tuesday, like we talking like 4 days from now or a week from now, Monday, Tuesday?
Oh no, I was thinking 4 days from now.
Okay, yeah, that's great for me.
I'm
That works.
I should be able to get that pulled off. And then I only had one question about, and Lori, this kind of wraps back around to the critique emails, and that's if we could share the YouTube link, because I might want to go back and rewatch the meeting for some ideas on how to, you know, how to do the critique.
Sure, I can send you both the video link to this recording. Absolutely.
Okay. That'd be great. That's a good idea, Rob.
All right. Well, I think from my perspective, that went really well, Lori. I want to thank you for putting it together.
Yeah, thanks, Lori.
I want to thank you both for showing up.
You're welcome. So, great.
All right, I'm gonna get this uploaded. I will send the link right out to you, and then I'm gonna go play around with Google Docs.
Okay, Lori, thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Lori.
All right.
Everybody have a good weekend.
You
You
too.
too. Bye, guys.
Bye.